welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest. I hope everybody has had a good week so far, working hard, studying lots, finding some time to relax, staying healthy and strong. Hi, Kyber. Hi, Ravneet. Hi, Rocky. Hi, Kush, Karen. Thank you for the salutations, and hello, welcome everyone. This class is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Make sure to visit us there. Check out our premium package, check out our free course, and for the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of these websites, we have lots and lots of great help for you to improve. This is the academic one here with the blue background. Click that big red button to join the premium package. For the general version of the test, it's the green background. Click that big red button to join us there. Of course, both of our websites are supported by applications from your Play stores. Academic IELTS Help links to aehelp.com and General IELTS Help from Apple and Google Play, link to gieltshelp.com. Hi, Nazir. Hi, Rashika. Nice to see our members in the class. That's fantastic. If you ever have questions, students, always just send me an email. Feel free, be confident. I will answer as soon as I can, usually within 24 hours. My email is adrian@aehelp.com. In today's class, we are looking at task 2 writing. I will tell you what to do, how to do to really maximize your score and stay confident throughout the writing process. Tomorrow, members, will do a task 1, and for everybody, we'll start the task 2 today, and then we'll likely be finishing it up tomorrow. So, first things first, when you get to your task 2, you should always read the question really carefully. Okay, I'm going to brighten up our day a little bit here. There we go. A little bit brighter. I'm feeling fantastic. Kush, thanks for asking. So let's read the question. This question was sent to us by one of our students, I believe perhaps a member. Here is the task 2 question. So task 2 writing. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. That's great. Always spend the 40 minutes because it's worth 2/3 of your writing score. Prevention is better than cure, period. Boom. Okay, a lot of information there. Researching and treating diseases is too costly, so it would be better to invest in preventative measures. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay. So there's our question. Now, we want to paraphrase this to make sure that we understand it. Okay? So paraphrase this in your own words. Paraphrasing can be useful for your essay, and it's definitely useful for your planning because you make sure that you understand the question, and you also collect useful vocabulary, and you start thinking about your answers. So think about your answer. Okay, so paraphrase the question. So step 1, paraphrase. Now, this doesn't mean that your paraphrase is your introduction. Okay, I know that a lot of students learn this from different places, but this is not necessarily your introduction, because that would be too simple for high band scores. Okay, so if you're one of those students who just paraphrases and says this essay will discuss both the benefits and negatives of investing money into preventative measures, then you are not writing the correct introduction. Okay, so first let's just paraphrase in our own words to make sure that we understand this. Okay, so step 1, paraphrasing. I'm going to do that right now as well with you. Okay. So, stopping illness before it starts is better than treating the sick. Okay. Investigating and curing illnesses is much too expensive, and it is wiser to spend money on effective ways to avoid illness. Okay, sure. To what degree do you think this to be true or false? Okay, so there's my paraphrase. I can see that Saswati has been working hard to paraphrase as well. Saswati says, it's better to be safe than sorry. It would be great to take preemptive measures than experimenting in healing illness, as this is expensive. To what extent do you support or contradict this idea? Very nice, Saswati. I like your use of the word preemptive measures instead of preventative. Preemptive is a nice paraphrase for that. Michael, fan or member, says precaution is much more important than elimination. Investigating and alleviating illness is expensive. Therefore, the time and money should be spent on precautionary approaches. Notice this nice vocabulary, students, that we're getting from all of these paraphrases, like prevention can be called preemptive, and precaution. Okay, good. Nice vocabulary. Good, well done. Okay, and different word forms, of course, precautionary and so forth. And Michael Fan is also using the word alleviate instead of cure. Okay, and we use that quite often. It's a nice word. Alleviate illness. Very nice. Okay. I can see some of you are preparing for these classes. That's great. Beck John says prevention is beneficial, is more beneficial than treatment. Scrutinizing and recuperating from illness is expensive, so it would be beneficial to capitalize on preventative actions. Very good, Beck John. I corrected a little bit of the grammar, but otherwise that was really nice. Marasa, always lovely to have you in class. Marasa says, interjection is preferable to treatment. Investing in treating illness is exorbitant. Therefore, it's better to spend money on preventative steps. To what level do you approve or disapprove of this? Very good. All right. Nicely done, students. So we've done some good paraphrasing. We gathered some good vocabulary. We're clear on the question. Now, let's identify the topic. So, what are we talking about here? So, what is the topic? What are we talking about? Okay, identify the topic. That's always your second step. Okay, identify the topic and the controlling idea or ideas. Okay, so what's the topic in this case? What are we actually talking about? Yeah, so the topic is disease. Yeah, we're talking about illness, right? Yeah, you're right, Michael Fenn. The simplest way to talk about this is illness, all right? That's the actual topic, okay? So illness or avoidance of disease, Alex, that's a nice one as well. I like Samuel. So Samuel says funding for disease. So yeah, that's probably the most accurate topic. Okay, so funding for counteracting disease. Counteracting is a nice word here because counteracting could be prevention or it could be intervention as well. Okay, so that's often the technical words used by the medical field, prevention and intervention, right? So topic, funding for counteracting disease. And what is the controlling idea? Okay, so that's definitely your topic, funding for counteracting disease. And what's your controlling idea? Okay, let's see if you can identify that accurately. Again, students, keep in mind that you should never start writing before you know your topic and controlling idea clearly, as you will likely write off topic, which will get low band scores even with great English. Okay, so always make sure to stop and figure out your topic and controlling idea before you begin. Okay, Mohammed Azad says prevention is better than cure. Okay, Priyanka saying, I'm not sure. Help me out here. Okay, if you're not sure, this is always when you want to reach out to somebody else and ask. Keep in mind, if funding is the topic, right, then that's going to be a part of the controlling idea. So I would say the controlling idea is funding for prevention is a better idea than funding for intervention. Okay, so that would be the controlling idea. Okay, that makes the most sense. All right, again, you have to be specific. You have to be specific here, right? All right, so hopefully that makes sense. All right, okay, so what is funding for counteracting disease? Okay, the answer for that, it should be clear. So, money spent, finish my sentence. What is it? So right now, what we're doing, for those of you who are joining, is we looked at our task 2 questions and we're planning our essay. So we're figuring out what to write before we begin writing, because we want to write a confident essay clearly and confidently, and we want to write it with good information. Okay. So Harpreet says it's buying medicine. Maqsad Bek says it's investing money. Kyber says the action which individuals do in order to prevent the effect of disease. Okay. So Samuel says it's money spent for infrastructure, research, equipment. Yeah, okay. So funding, it's money spent for research, infrastructure, education, production, to minimize the harm of diseases in the human population. Okay, what's the next question? So what's the next question? Let's keep it simple. Yeah, let's not forget cure or remedies. as Marasa says. Yeah. So next question is, why do we fund counteracting diseases? Okay, so why do we do that? Of course, the first answer that comes to mind is to decrease human suffering, right? And improve quality of life, okay? Sure. What would be another answer? Okay, very good, Rajveer. So Rajveer says, hey, girls and guys, let's take it a step further. Let's think critically. Let's visualize. Let's picture this to improve productivity, right? Absolutely. To Yeah. So thinking beyond the humanitarian aspect of improving quality of life and decreasing suffering, we also want to make sure that humans as a population are productive, right? So that we can keep growing food, we can keep developing and prospering. Absolutely. So how do we do it? Okay. Again, students, you really want to ask the right questions. Think about this. Now, yes, in the real IELTS exam, you don't have time to write all this down. I realize that. I know that. I'm not crazy. But at home, you definitely have to practice doing this on paper or on your computer. And in the exam, you have to go through these questions really quickly in your head so that you get the right ideas for your essay. Okay? So how do we fund counteracting diseases? All right. So Beckjohn says by allocating government funds. Okay. And Beckjohn, even be specific, right? By allocating billions of dollars in government funding. Absolutely. So we're not talking about a bag of potatoes here. Okay. Right. Murasa says by giving a high quality of educations to researchers and doctors. Yeah. So by building universities with public money. To train doctors. Sure, that's okay. Let's not, it's going a little bit off topic. And also through donations, yeah, charity, and also through private investment as well, right? So through charity and through the private sector. So don't forget, students, there's also billions of dollars spent by the private sector on this. For example, pharmaceutical companies, right? Okay, so that's going on as well. Great. So now we have a much clearer idea of what's going on. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you, you thought about this and you had a kind of an idea of what it means to fund counteracting diseases. But now that you really went through the steps, it's going to be much clearer. Just like your math teacher always told you to show your work in middle school and high school, when you're practicing task 2 at home, students, you have to show your work because that's how you develop your critical thinking. That's how you think faster for the IELTS exam and you come up with better ideas. And coming up with better ideas is one of the fastest ways to improve your band scores. Is that clear? Did everybody follow my line of thought from your math teacher telling you to go through each of the steps for the formula and show your work? It's the same concept for task 2 writing. Okay, so this is just a tip here. Okay, so tip, like your middle school math teacher said, show your work. Which means go through the steps of critical thinking and write down questions and answers for your planning when you prepare for IELTS at home. Okay, so show your work. Go through these steps. And of course, while you're doing this, you're practicing your writing in a very nice, structured way. So make sure to do that. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's keep going here. Now, the controlling idea. So what is investing money into prevention? That's the focus here. So answer that for me. What does it mean to invest money into prevention instead of intervention? Now we know intervention means curing a person once they're already sick, but what does it mean to invest money into prevention? Okay. What does that mean in your own words? And this is important because this will be the content of your essays. So Hadi says it's focusing funds on precautions. Okay. Spell it out. So when you're thinking about this, think of definitive paraphrasing. So it means spending money to, and finish my sentence. Don't just use the word precautions. Spell it out in simple terms. Okay, Boomy, that's how we do it, by eating a balanced diet. Okay, keep it simple. So spending money, simple is beautiful, students. It's not easy, but it's beautiful. Zen says guidelines for hygienic conditions. That's more of the how. Okay. Jaspal says awareness. Okay. Still don't see it yet. So spending money to keep people, and here's the word, starts with an H. What's the missing word? Spending money to keep people. And now some of you are going to be like, oh man, really? Yeah, I got to think like that for IELTS. Just keep it simple. Because then you get those points, those band scores. Yeah, Marasa. That's right. Healthy. Okay, healthy. So spending money to keep people healthy. That's the key word. If you don't come up with that word in your thinking, you're at a disadvantage. Okay? When 100 students get this task 2 question, those students who come up with the word spending money to keep people healthy will have a much better chance of getting an extra band score, even if they're on the same level. Okay, so spending money to keep people healthy. Why? We already answered this. Why spend money to keep people healthy? Okay. The answer there, we already have that, is good quality of life and productivity. Okay. Now, how? So, how can we spend money to keep people healthy? Okay. So you gave me a lot of good ideas. I saw a lot of answers for that already. Okay, so some of you said vaccines. Okay, that's a good answer. What would be some more? Rajveer says good quality nutrition. So provide the public with quality nutrition. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. What else? Sammy, building hospitals would not be prevention. Okay, building hospitals would be intervention. Bhumi says proper hygiene, so education of nutrition and good hygiene. Hygiene means students to keep clean. Okay, so like washing your hands when they get dirty and so on. Okay, so that's proper hygiene, hygiene. Okay, what else? Let's see. Yeah, Bhumi, very good. Regular exercise, physical examination. So regular exercise, sports facilities. Okay, regular checkups. Sure. Those are the different ways. All right, lots of ideas now. So now we're flowing with ideas. So we've come up with the what, why, and how for the topic, the controlling idea. Now we need to take a position. So again, the question, to what extent do you agree? Okay. Also laws, regulations to decrease smoking and negative behaviors as well. So now you can tackle this question. So now that you've gone through the what, why, how for the topic and the controlling ideas, now you can accurately answer this. To what extent do you agree that money should be spent on prevention instead of intervention? So Amanjad says, I fully agree with this statement. Arza says, I completely agree that spending on precaution is the better option. Yeah? Okay. Completely agree is a good idea as well. I might say mostly agree, just because if people do get sick, then it is important that we still have doctors and nurses working to cure diseases. So answer, completely agree or mostly agree, I would say. Now I'm going to show you how to do mostly agree here as well. Some of you are going, well, what is he going to do with mostly agree? Okay, good. When you completely agree, what you need to do for the thesis, so the next step, okay, step 3, is write a direct thesis with 2 clear points about the reasons that you completely agree with this statement. Now, this is the most important sentence of your essay, so make sure it's good. Okay? It's the last sentence of your introductory paragraph. All right? So this is where you shine, okay? So Hattie says, I strongly disagree because it's hard to keep all people from illness. And if someone got sick, they may infect the whole community. Okay, Hattie, we're going with the strongly agree side here. You can go with the disagree side. It's a tough argument, but you could do that as well. Okay, always choose the easy argument. All right. So Samuel says, I partially agree since there might be newer types of diseases resistant to preventative measures. Okay. Again, let's go with the strongly or mostly agree this time, students, because we can't do all of the variations at the same time. And I think strongly agree is the easiest argument. Always choose the easiest argument for IELTS, students. IELTS is not the place to explore your philosophical side, okay? You can do that in university or in your work. Don't do it on IELTS. On IELTS, always choose the easy answer, okay? So Beckjan says, many individuals think that prevention is better than the remedy. Personally, I agree with this statement since it's cheaper and more efficient. Okay. Saswati says, some people claim that there should be more funds provided for prevention of disease compared to their treatment. I completely agree with this statement because prevention is more cost effective and helps eradicate disease. Good. So those are some good thesis statements, Saswati. Yeah, very nicely done. Good thesis statement, Bekjan and Saswati. Well done. Okay. All right, so Murasa says, I strongly agree that spending money on prevention is better because it not only enhances quality of life, but also saves money. That's a very nice thesis statement, Murasa. So Murasa says, I strongly agree. I'd be careful with saying completely because as some of you have said, yeah, I mean, you can't completely stop funding for curing diseases. That probably wouldn't be the smartest plan. But strongly agreeing with prevention, I think even most doctors and nurses would agree with you. They would say, yeah, that's why we try to focus on prevention. So I strongly agree that prevention is better than intervention, as it not only improves quality of life, but it also saves lots of money. Okay, so paying attention to parallel grammar form. Good, that works. Okay, so that works. All right. Okay, so our thesis statement is good. We're on the same page. Now, again, students, some of you might say, hey, Adrian's out to lunch. Investing into cures are important as well. Sure, no problem. But for this class, let's focus on this thesis statement because it's sensible and it's easy to write about. So before I continue with starting my introduction, I want to make sure that first person voice is okay. Notice how I'm using I here. I is called the first person voice of the author because the author is speaking directly from their own subjective position. Now, should I use I or not? That depends on the question. Okay? So always double check the question to see what voice of the author you should use. Okay? If you're not familiar with voices of the author, please research that. It's very important for writing. So read about first person, second person, and third person voice of the author. There are some very strict rules in writing about this. Okay, so make sure you're familiar with these voices. So here it says, spend 40 minutes on this task. Prevention is better than a cure. Researching and treating diseases is too costly, so it would be better to invest in preventative measures. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So it is asking for your personal opinion. Give explanations and examples to support your opinion. When you see the word you and your appear in the question, that gives you a very strong indication that this is indeed a first person. Okay, so that double appearance of the pronoun you, your, it's a first person. So it's asking specifically. So we're good here. We're good with the first person voice. Okay. All right, so then we can now keep going, and all of that wonderful planning that we just did with the topic and the controlling idea becomes very useful for us in our essay. So when some students think, oh, all this planning, but it's wasting time. No. There's a wise saying. The wise saying goes, a little bit of planning goes a long way. I'm not the first person to say this, nor did I invent this. It has been around for many a year. And it's very, very true. It's not by accident. Okay. So a little bit of planning goes a long way, and that's very true for task 2. Okay. So a little bit of planning goes a long way. Those kinds of tips and tricks on how to kind of stick together an essay that you might learn from some books or some courses, the students, they're really not effective for the high band scores. So I highly recommend avoiding that, especially if you're going for band 7s or higher. Okay, there's no way that they will give you a band 7 when you write. Preventing disease is more important than intervening. This essay will discuss the pros and cons. It's not going to get a good mark. Okay, you need to do better. All right. So let's start the introduction. Let's do better. Okay, the introduction starts with a hook. The hook, don't overthink it. It's a simple 8 to 12 word sentence that introduces the topic in some interesting way to the reader. Okay, now, of course, this is, again, where all of our planning comes into play. And you know that our topic was funding for counteracting disease. So think about funding for counteracting disease and give me a topic or give me a hook that would be interesting and that has to do with funding for counteracting disease. Okay. When you know the steps to writing ogretmen hanim, then you can become very quick. Okay, so obviously I teach IELTS, so it's clear for me, but for me to write a 300-word essay for task 2 at the band 9 level takes about 20 minutes, not even 15. Okay. Satisfying Times, Chabi says, the advancement in science leads humankind to rethink about diseases in a different way compared to old generations. Too complicated, Chabi. Keep it simpler. You have about 20 words there. Keep it to just a few words, okay? All right. Rajveer Singh says, governments around the globe spend billions of dollars each year to cure illnesses. Very nice hook, Rajveer. Very nice hook. Catchy. It mentions the topic, right? Because you're talking about funding, the billions of dollars. Very good. Yeah, Beckjan's asking, sir, how much critical thinking and planning do we need to do in our mind in the actual exam? That's a really good question, so I'm going to just derail and sidetrack to that for just a moment. So this question just came from one of our students, Beckjan. Beckjan says, how much time should I actually spend on planning task 2? Okay, that's a very good question. All right. The answer is anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Now again, Beckjan, in the IELTS, you're not writing these down, so 5 minutes of planning is actually quite a bit. Okay. So 5 minutes on planning, 35 minutes on writing, and maybe 1 or 2 minutes on review if you have the time still. Okay. That's what I recommend. That's how you should spread your time. Definitely have some clear ideas before you start. Okay. All right. Great. Good one. Okay. All right. The hook. Keep the hook simple. Alva says, medical investment is an important matter nowadays. Sure. Okay. Keep thinking about medical funding. Alves, it's not bad. Samuel says, how do we plan? Just scribbles? Yeah, Samuel, if you have some really good ideas that come to mind, you might scribble down a couple words, but most of it is mental during the exam, right? Okay. Mohammed says, every year people spend millions of dollars to stay in good health. Okay. How about this, students? Let me throw a hook out there for you. And again, this comes with practice, so nobody's born writing fantastic essays. Keep that in mind. Okay. So funding the war on illness is the greatest is one of the biggest expenses incurred by both individuals and society. All right, that will catch your reader's attention. So funding the war on illness is one of the biggest expenses incurred by both individuals and society. Would you agree with me? Would you agree that most people in their lifetime, especially in our old age, one of the biggest amounts of money that we spend in our life is to fight sickness, whether it's for medication, hospital care, doctors, therapy, and so on. And not only for us as each individual person trying to stay healthy and strong until the very, very last breath, but also for society. So ask yourself this question. If you look at an essay and you read this sentence, does that make you want to read more? Are you thinking, okay, I want to see what the next sentence is telling me. I want to see what the next sentence is telling me. That's what good writing does, okay? And the IELTS is not an ESL exam. I have to keep saying this because so many students think that IELTS is an ESL exam, and English is a second language exam. IELTS is not an English as a second language exam. It's an English proficiency exam, which means it's measuring your ability to use the English language as a native speaker with college, university, high school skills, okay? So it's not an ESL test. So the IELTS people aren't really concerned too much about your grammar or vocabulary. They're concerned about how well are you using it in your writing, okay? All right. Yeah, Alex, physiotherapy. Okay, so that's our hook. Okay, that gets you reading. Now, what comes after the hook? The background. The background is definitions and importance. Okay, now this is easy if you've done some good planning because definitions means defining the controlling ideas and talking about the importance of the question, okay, that you're being asked. So that's the background. That's the background, okay? So here, when we look for definitions, we usually get that from the whys, okay? So remember our why questions. Why do we fund counteracting disease? To decrease human suffering, improve quality of life, to improve productivity. Okay, that's one of our whys. Maybe look at the other why as well and the hows, and you have all the definitions and importance that you could want. Okay, so the next one, it's the same, right? Why? Spend money to keep people healthy, good quality of life, and productivity. So clearly that is the background. Okay. So here we go with the background, okay? Write your background. Students, I want to see your background as well, and then I'll write mine. Beckjun says, every government allocates a certain amount of money to prevent and cure diseases, thereby keeping citizens healthy. Very nice, Beckjun. Very nice. Okay. I see you've taken a second stab at it as well. Good. Rajveer says millions of people experience serious health concerns each year, so it is solely responsibility of governments to assist them in these bad times to improve their lifestyles. That'll work as well, Rajveer. I don't agree that it's just governments. I think the private sector also invests, but that's details. In the IELTS, you can still get a band 9 even if you don't write that. Okay, Satisfying Time says, although searching for a cure for a disease may look like the correct approach at first glance, investing money to prevent getting sick is in the first place is better to improve life expectancy and productivity. Yeah, quality of life rather than life expectancy. Satisfying Times. Yeah, good. So nice, some nice answers there. Marasa Baraki says governments each year spend millions of dollars on prevention and intervention to keep people healthy, right? We're at both sides here. It's the introduction to the question, okay? So background for me here would be not only governments, but also the private sector invest billions of dollars on both prevention and intervention of diseases to maintain public health, thereby improving quality of life, or life quality, let's say, keep it a little simple, quality, and productivity. Okay, because life quality and life productivity, those both work. So this is, again, your band 9 example here. Okay, and then the importance of the question here. So what's the importance of the question? Well, maximizing the return on investment is in the interest of all people. Okay, so maximizing the return on investment in the healthcare field is in the interest of all people. Here I put in the healthcare field because that's more specific. And healthcare doesn't necessarily mean intervention. It could also mean prevention as well, right? So that would be my background. And then here, my thesis just comes into play, and there it is, the full introduction. Okay, so that's your Band 9 introduction. Now again, students, I make that look simple, but that comes with practice, okay? And why am I writing quickly now and clearly? Because I've done all that planning. So now it's just a matter of putting together the ideas in this standard, structured, persuasive essay, okay? So take a look at it. Here's the introduction. Funding the war on illness is one of the biggest expenses incurred by both individuals and society. Not only governments, but also the private sector invests billions of dollars on both prevention and intervention of diseases to maintain public health, thereby improving life quality and productivity. Maximizing the return on investment in the healthcare field is in the interest of all people. I strongly agree that prevention is better than intervention, as it not only improves quality of life, but also saves a lot of money. Okay, that will get you a Band 9. Now, I have a little bit of repetition here with prevention, intervention, so I might do a bit of more paraphrasing here, okay, with prevention, intervention, or as preemptive measures rather than interactive measures, something like that. But overall, it's definitely at a high level, okay? Tenzin says, please explain the background one more time. So, sure, Tenzin, no problem, okay? The introduction, depending on the style of essay, okay? So, the introductory paragraph in an essay is like the opening scene to a movie. Okay? So think about it that way. In an opening scene to a movie, you are introduced to the context, like, for example, the year and place. as well as the characters. Okay, so the elements of the movie. Okay, also, movies start with a hook. Some interesting situation, like an explosion, which keeps you in your seat to watch the rest of the movie. Okay. So I hope you get my analogy here. A good introduction does similar, okay, with hook plus background, which is the context, right? The players, the definitions, plus the thesis, okay, which will keep the reader reading, all right? So that's a good introduction. And I think somebody just asked, how many words should a good introduction have in a 300-word essay? 50 to 80 words, Zen Fedrick, you're right. It's about 50 to 80 words. So if you look at my introduction, it's roughly 50 to 80 words. Okay, I would guess it's actually somewhere around 65. Now, again, remember, students, that the question for task 2 says 250 words minimum. So higher level essays, band 7, 8, 9, they're usually closer to 300 words. Okay, so 50 to 80 words. If you're writing only like 25 words, which are basically prevention is a really important approach to health, and this essay will explain why. It's way too short for an introduction, okay? In the real world, not too many people would keep reading that essay. Okay, students, tomorrow I will be back at the same time to finish the body paragraphs and the conclusion with you, all right? So here we go, everyone. If you have any questions, again, send your questions to Adrian at aehelp.com. And to learn the correct ways to write, make sure to join us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and GIELTShelp.com for general. We just had a student write us an email like 2 minutes before this class, and they said, thanks, I used your writing strategy and got a band 8. All the way up from a band 6.5. So it works. It's proven. We have students sending us emails, thankfully, all the time with great improvements in the writing band scores. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone. Make sure to join me tomorrow to learn a bit more about the body paragraphs and the conclusion. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay strong. Prevention is better, so eat your vitamins. Bye for now, everyone. I'm Adrian, signing out from Budapest. See you tomorrow.